Joining him now is Congressman Steve King of Iowa, plus tonight's all-star panel. On the left, Attorney Joy Jackson. On the right, Jason Matera, editor of Human Events, and David Rare, professor at George Washington Graduate School of Political Management. Congressman, I'd like to go to you first. You heard Van Jones there saying the American autumn, to take back the American middle class. I'm watching these Wall Street protests, sir, and I can't figure out what they want to do. Do they want to destroy capitalism? Do they want the Wall Street fat cats to give money back? I'm not sure where they are. Do you have any idea what's going on there?
Well, I have some ideas, and I don't know if they're any more valid than anybody else's. I think Van Jones knows more than I do. He's in the middle of that circle, and he's proven that. But one of the memories that comes to mind for me that helps frame what I think is going on with Take Back the Wall Street effort is the anti-war protests that took place here in March 18th of 2003. I stood in Pennsylvania Avenue and saw that human river of discontent pour down from curb to curb for an hour and 45 minutes. It was a collection of many of the elements that I see are there and Take Back the Wall Street effort, and as you said, spreading across the country. It looks a lot like Obama's base, but also people that are even to the left of Obama. I haven't seen anarchists there. I expect they will be. This is union-driven. It's communist-driven. It's socialism-driven. It's anti-capitalism-driven. It's all of the antitheses of the basic principles that build America rising up against the free market system.
Yeah, and I've heard some of these kids down there saying, I want to get rid of capitalism, I want to spread the wealth. I mean, really some socialist propaganda going on. Take a look at the map we put together. This is from their website themselves, this activist group, the protesters. They're spreading. They say they're not only in America now, almost every state. They also say they're throughout Canada. Check it out, some European countries as well, Australia, even Japan. They're spreading. But again, what are they protesting? And why do they need to protest in Japan if they're worried about Wall Street corporatism?
Well, it's the Nikkei, I suppose, Eric. But there is a strong element here in this country, and most people in the country don't see it. They come out from wherever they happen to live in the corners of America, come to the streets because of Facebook and email and all of the social media that we have and the social networking that we have. They just jump on one side of the discontent bandwagon and decide they're going to come out into the streets and demonstrate.
Right.
I don't think it's logical, but I think a lot of this is Barack Obama's base that's come out to demonstrate.
Right, hang in there. Clearly, they're all, they're very pro-Obama. Joey, take a listen to this. This is a gentleman who was on LSD last night. Listen to this guy.
The movement down here is incredibly exciting. It's incredibly exhilarating. And honestly, my opinion as a professional sociologist, I think that this is the beginning of a revolution in this country. A lot of the people that are here are in fact anarchists, are in fact revolutionaries. And putting a revolutionary change into political terms is very difficult to do because we're trying to get away from all the problems and we don't really want to fix them. It's revolution, not reform.
All right, Joey. So Congressman King mentioned anarchists, but there you have we have a sociologist down there that was last night live from the protest. You kind of laughed a little bit when the congressman said anarchists. Guess what? A self-admitted anarchist right down there right now.
Well, here's the point, Eric. I think in any organization, any group, you're going to find a variety of members. You're going to find members that don't represent the mainstream of that particular group. I think it's most unfortunate that we have a sitting congressman who views this as anarchy, who views it as socialist, who views this as Marxist.
Stop, Jackson. Here's this guy, his name is Schultz, Harrison Schultz, I guess his name. He says he's a sociologist. He said, here we are. We're anarchists down here.
So you pick one individual that's interviewed, and that person represents the entire group.
It's certainly more relevant than a congressman saying maybe the anarchists will show up. Here he is saying, I'm here and we're anarchists.
Eric, I think that's most unfortunate because what I look to when I look to the walls of Congress is I look at a democracy. A democracy.
Stay on what's going on down here. Stay on what's going on down here.
Let me talk about that because I see a world and a universe that has a lot of differing views. And I see when people are discontent, we have a constitutional right. In fact, many people, right, they formed this Tea Party because they were discontent about how things were moving and working. So this organization, whatever it is, has a right to rise up to talk about what they view are things that are bad. Now, the point is that we have a very bad economy. We know that. The fact also is that it's corporations that hire. It's not the White House. And when you have corporations sitting on billions of dollars and not allowing people to work, that's a problem.
Discontent, no doubt. Listen to Ainsley. Ainsley put together a package of what's going on downtown. Take a listen to this, and I want Jason to weigh in.
Why are you out here?
Because this is where the enemy is, the enemy of the working and poor people, and this is really where the power comes out of, not D.C. You know, that's all the politicians are puppets.
Why are you out here?
Not quite sure, but it just seems like this is the first time where I have faith in the human race.
Everybody seems pretty unhappy right now, so yeah.
But no one really knows why they're here.
It's okay, you don't need to know why you're unhappy sometimes. You can still feel unhappy, right?
Okay, Jason, I mean, honestly, the enemy, Nazi bankers, don't even know why we're here.
I am fluent in leftist speak. It's vote for Barack and pass the joint, bro. That's what they're pretty much saying. They have no idea what is going on in life. But Van Jones says they need to really copy and emulate the Tea Party. Okay, I agree. I welcome these protesters to join us in demonstrating against out-of-control government spending. I also encourage them not to have fistfights with police officers. It's not going to go well to them. And lastly, to my progressive friends, please, if you're going to be squatting in a New York City park for 3 weeks, find a shower.
How about this?
It sounds like the WMD of BO went off
you
down
clean
there.
up before you leave. I know, Congressman, I want to get you back in, but first let's just go to David Verrera real quickly. Jay Carney talking about this from the White House podium. Take a listen.
Thank you, Jay. Have the Occupy Wall Street protests reached a level of the president's engaged awareness? Is he sympathizing with the protesters? Is he concerned about the protests at all?
I haven't discussed it with him. I'm sure he's aware of it because he follows the news. I mean, I would simply say that to the extent that people are frustrated with the economic situation, we understand.
So what do you say, David? Is that a proper response from the White House?
Well, it is. I mean, he doesn't want to take the side of the protesters because that'll put him further to the left than he is. The bad news for the protesters is that 86% of Americans support the free enterprise system. Only about 10% don't. These protests are silly. Most of them are affluent kids out. They're looking for a cause. They're harking back to, boy, I wish I was alive during the Vietnam War.
Hey, Congressman, Mr. Obama, or President Obama, claims he's going to raise $1 billion. I got to think that a lot of that money is going to come from the same people that these kids are protesting right now.
Well, there's any question about that. He's raised a lot of money in Wall Street in the past. The reports just came out here within the last 24 hours that he's having trouble prying those Wall Street wallets open. And it looks like it's going to be tough for him to raise his $1 billion because Wall Street is disenchanted with the attack that the president has brought against them. You know, the president says this is simple math. It's not class envy. It is class envy. He has played the class envy card over and over again. And we must have free enterprise. And the weight of the Dodd-Frank regulations coming down on top of this, piece after piece, Obamacare, it diminishes American liberty. And here we have people in the streets exercising their liberty and advocating for less of it and advocating for more government, which diminishes their liberty. And by the way, they flow all together. If you look at them, you will see that there will be socialists and communists and SEIU members sometimes carrying each other's signs arm in arm. It'll be the anarchists. We confirm that.
Sir, if I may, one more group in there. Let's talk about the unions. Mr. Trumka weighing in on Wall Street. Please take a listen to this.
I think it's a tactic, and it's a valid tactic, to call attention to a problem. Wall Street is out of control. We have three imbalances in this country. The imbalance between imports and exports, the imbalance between employer power and working power, and the imbalance between the real economy and the financial economy.
So, Congressman, we have the protesters, we have the anarchists, we have the socialists, we have the Marxists, and now we have the unions locking arms with the group.
And I just came back from Greece a couple of days ago where this has been played out in the streets of Athens over and over again. The pattern is recurring here in the United States. Look to Greece to see with a predictor on what could happen here in the United States. But I'm hopeful that this will not be a strong, growing movement. I hope they'll just turn out to be the fringe people. Because we don't need something like this rolling over the country. They're attacking the principles, the pillars of American exceptionalism.
But well, hold on, guys. Allow me. Let me do this. I want to get this soundbite in before we lose the congressman. Joey, I want you to weigh in on two. I would call these guys capitalists. You may not, but I will. Michael Moore is a filmmaker who's made millions of dollars on his films, and Keith Olbermann, who's been paid millions of dollars to talk on television. Listen to this.
There really isn't anything driving this other than what Wall Street has done and what those who are in charge of our economy have done. They weren't just happy enough with having multi-billions. They wanted tens and hundreds of billions, maybe even trillions. And so
kleptomania, as you said.
They're kleptomaniacs is what they are. They're out of control. I think it really is some kind of a sociopathic illness, and they now want us to live in a kleptocracy.
So the anarchist, the Marxist Michael Moore talking to Keith Olbermann, who made most of his money working for a General Electric property, who, by the way, paid no corporate income taxes last year on $15 billion in international profits. These two are the epitome of hypocrisy.
Listen, Eric, I'm for the statement of names, I'm for the statement of facts, not the statement of names. The fact of the matter is we can call people anything we want, but what we have to recognize and respect is that people have a variety of point of views. And the fact is what made this country great, what made Democrats, Republicans, and people in the Tea Party is that we can have our differences.
Michael Moore
is entitled to his
money
opinion.
Selling movie tickets, spewing leftist propaganda. Keith Olbermann made millions working for MSNBC, a property of NBC, a property of General Electric. These guys, why are they pointing the corporate finger? They're the big. They should be the advocates of capitalism. They are the biggest beneficiaries of capitalism. At least anyone I see in this room.
They're talented people who have used their skills effectively so that they can earn and so that they can share part of the American dream. And what they recognize, Eric, is when people don't have part of that dream, that they have a right to rise up. They have a right to express their point of view. They have a right.
Michael Moore should go ahead and cut them $1,000 checks then. He's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, what's interesting, too, is these protesters, while they're all up in a tizzy and have their undies in a jumble over capitalism, they're tweeting where the rallies are going to go. They're streaming it over the internet. They're organizing through the iPhone.
And what's guys, hang on. One more soundbite, Congressman, before we lose your way in on this one. Take a listen to Van Jones. Another soundbite from this radical extremist. Take a listen.
And it's an extraordinary thing. We know we have the young folks and the struggling folks who are down there on Wall Street. Give them a round of applause. They went down there to the scene of the crime against our future.
The scene of the crime against our future, Congressman, is Wall Street, is capitalism, is that system that we've built such a strong, beautiful, wonderful country, the world, the leader in almost every industry. Is that the scene of the crime, sir?
I wouldn't say it's the scene of the crime. They are influential in national policy. That's why they give a lot of money. Most of it now is going to the Democrats. But I would say this, that we must have a Wall Street. We must have a market. We need an honest market. We'd have been better off to let some of those operations that we propped up fold. That way there would create the honesty, and they'd have been a lot more careful with their investments. But my advice would be to the people that are down there in the streets right now today is if you want to be like the Tea Party, don't get arrested and clean up after yourself.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for throwing that in there. Agree wholeheartedly, sir. Before we go, I want everyone to just take a listen. A long time ago, this is back in November 2010, we here on this show said they're likely the protests that are going on around the world may spread to America if things didn't get better under Obama's economy. Take a look at what we said back then. We saw it in France. We saw it in Greece. Can it happen here?
Of course it can happen here. Because you know what? Whenever you have a population that has gotten used to fiction and harsh realities visit them, they are ill prepared for that, especially if they've been coaxed to abandon autonomy.
And guess what? The blogs, the left-leaning blogs, made fun of us, gave me a hard time about being an alarmist. We saw it coming. We're going to have to leave it there. We're going to say thank you to Congressman Steve King. Coming up, the Christie roller coaster.